I didn't have a lot of stability in my life or a strong woman to look up to. My grandmother, who helped raise me for a good part of my life, was a very classy woman, also religious. She was a Baptist woman. She was a bit strict about how a lady acted and how a lady looked in church. I thank her for teaching me how to present myself. My aunt, who also took turns taking care of me, along with my grandmother, was a very distinguished lady as well, very intellectual. She was incredibly knowledgeable, and I loved her and adored her. She had this grace about her. Even though she had issues, she had a fear of leaving the house, and she was very recluse. But when you talked to her, there was a depth to her. I didn't get to be very close to her as I started getting up in age. I wish I could have, but I didn't. Life happens. These two women were a huge foundation to my life. But there were some traumas that happened to me and my sisters, my half-sisters. And as I was sitting here today and I realized I've never had a completely strong woman figure to look up to in my life. It wasn't my mother. My mother did the best she can at the capacity she was able to operate at. My mother is a narcissistic hoarder who emotionally abused us three, neglected us, and I don't want to go to great detail. I've had to pick up pieces for her. I was like her friend majority of the time. I've had to help take care of my sisters. There's a huge gap between me and them. I've had to be responsible for people not knowing how to be responsible for them or myself. And I was thinking today, I'm like, I knew these things. But I realized I never had a solid, tangible person in my life that was a woman that I could look up to. And I realized I was the one that cultivated that person. A lot of push and pull, navigating these waters. Mistakes. Rebellions. And I didn't do anything drastically crazy. Never have. I have a complex where I have to have some control over my well-being. I don't like feeling completely vulnerable. And I have gotten better with that, with people. But with myself, I was super protective. Now I walk with unconditional love, and it's always evolving. And it's just sitting here. I was having a cup of coffee and I was doing some reading, and I realized I had to cultivate the woman I so desired to look up to. to project, to exude, to demonstrate. It's difficult in this day and age trying to understand what type of woman you should be. You should be strong, but what does that look like? You should be feminine, but how does that look like? Is that sexy? Can you play with sexy? But then is it too sexy? Then can you be fun? Can you be alluring? Can you be just strong and rigid? It's very confusing in this day and age, especially with how the social media and the public misinterpret how women should be. But long story short, as I start to tear up, I realized, dude, man, give yourself fucking credit. And you might ask, well, your grandmother and your aunt, my aunt had her own issues. She was a good woman. My grandmother, there was a couple of things that happened in our family, and my grandmother, her response was, give it to God and just forgive. Right after the events happened, and I felt such a loss. I felt conflicted. I felt betrayed. I felt my loved ones were betrayed, because these were serious events, and I felt like it was lightly brushed off as if it didn't matter. And saying that now, I know, based on my grandmother's upbringing, she had a strict upbringing, and she was taught, conditioned to believe this way. I'm the one that will break the mold. I always do. But I know it's not right. I don't give a two craps about it. I don't give it. I know there's righteous moments and there's ways to go about it, but that doesn't mean you have to just ignore it and act like it doesn't carry weight. Acknowledge it, process it, nurture what's important, reflect, and let it go, because you don't want it to own you. You skip all those steps. If you skip what's important and how you are important, or the people that was abused they're not important, and you just give some cliche response, it speaks volumes about who you are. And I'm not putting my grandmother down. I love her dearly. God rest her soul. But it could shatter a person's confidence, love for themselves. It could mess them up entirely for their future. Me recognizing these things, and I've known about it, it frustrates me. But I understand it. Not saying it's okay, but it allows me to move through it. If you ever experienced something bad in your life and you wonder why people brush it off, understand this. And I'm not saying it's okay that they do it. I'm saying is they can't help it. A lot of people have never learned how to process or heal. We're all examples that react based on our upbringings. And what I mean by that is people say or do what they do to survive because that's what they were taught, or that's what helped them survive in the moments, and they never learned how to go back and heal. You are valid. And just because somebody sweeps it under the rug, it's not saying that they care about you less. It's saying that they don't know how to process or help you. They don't even know how to help themselves. And this is the best that they can provide. I know it may not seem much, but understand, like, it's something. And that doesn't mean to give up on yourself. Keep going forward. I am my own strong woman, and I pray other women will find their ways, and men. And I've never given up. I've walked away from God a couple of times, but you know what? It's not his fault. People use God as a tool. And I will not be tricked to do so. So, all right, loves. If you can't find someone to look up to, be that person. And it may take trial and error to get there, but dang it, it makes you wiser. All right. Be iconic.